what's something you would change to make the show more for you, as opposed to if you think there's a problem technically with it or anything? Is there anything you'd be like, this would be custom built for me if they did this here?
Well, 3 things come to mind. Hardcore nudity.
It's coming.
No, I don't know. More custom. I guess it would be if their jokes were a little bit more biting, because they are they're fun and I enjoy them, but they lack teeth a lot of the times, and I don't see that as a negative, because I think whatever, it's all about their approach is their approach. It's fine. But the thing I've always liked about Rick and Morty is how deep their cuts go. And I don't mean like reference wise. I just mean like when they take a swipe at something, they're taking meat out on the other end. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it's that kind of show. So yeah, what do you think?
I think, I guess I personally would just say, maybe this doesn't work in animation at this point, but I would say cut out, let's try to make a solid album here. Cut out these filler tracks and really focus on what joke you want to work here. So in some sense, it would almost more closely resemble Star Trek, except the comedy would just be I would really like more of the comedy to come from the ideas that they have here, which is that Scotty's idea is actually implemented into a plot line that comes out of it. You know? And, I don't think that this one was particularly successful, because I don't think it was all that funny outside of the cleverness of doing it. I would prefer more of that and less stuff, even though I liked it, less stuff of Ransom fighting, with his double axe handle smash, stuff like that. Because at a certain point, if they had not mentioned that, I would have enjoyed the joke more. But he has lines during where he's like interlocking fingers and stuff like that, and it's okay. But that feels too immersion breaking in some way. That would be my change. Just maybe tone down the jokes a little bit, but make the jokes more built into the plot as opposed to just kind of layering them on top of things, which I think this episode did a good job of. Yeah,
thinking about when we were talking about bringing in cast members from other shows, I almost wish that they had a single recurring cast member from a different show who popped up in some fashion. I last episode, I think, or maybe the first one, I remember, I mentioned Adam West on Family Guy. That sort of character where you have someone who is a link to the previous shows. So if the rest of your show is going to be crazy, wacky, send-ups or whatever, having that one grounding character who interacts with these characters from time to time would be an interesting addition, just as a constant, who's maybe not on every show, but maybe has like a Guinan sort of role, where every now and then they have to talk to Geordi or something like that, where it's like they can
I would like Guinan
more.
I would like Guinan. I think Guinan kind of work as that character.
It'd be a great addition. Why not? But yeah, someone who grounds some of the ridiculousness a little bit more.
What last point, and then we'll go.
And as a reference point too.
Yeah.
So you can just them being there can recontextualize a reference in a way that you don't even have to bring it up, depending on what the situation is.
The last thing, just so I'm not accused of being somewhat hypocritical, I think I should bring this up a little bit. The other thing that I would change, and this is much more minor than anything about that, is that I feel that this show should be no different from shows like Discovery, which is that I don't like it when they play up the Enterprise as a pinnacle of them in the universe, so that so that everyone in the show treats the Enterprise like it's something. We laughed about that in Discovery season 1 when it ended. If the bridge crew all comes to a screeching halt and they're like, it's the Enterprise. The Enterprise is just some ship in there. Like there's nothing. The Enterprise is only famous because of what Pike and Kirk did after Discovery. You know what I mean? There's no reason to react to the Enterprise like it's some amazing thing. The same thing I think applies here. I don't really like how often they reference like the Enterprise does this all the time and they do everything right on the Enterprise. I understand why they're doing it, but I would prefer that they didn't do that. I think I just don't like treating the Enterprise as a kind of like anything out of the ordinary for this universe, even if it's this twisted funhouse mirror of a universe.
Yeah, I don't mind it as much in this as I did in Discovery, because at this point in the timeline, the Enterprise has done some shit.
Stuff, yeah.
You know, by this point, like kind of like the run that Mariner goes on at the end of the first episode. Spock has come back from the dead. They went back in time and saved the whales.
Yep.
Like they single-handedly destroyed the Borg and all this kind of shit. You know, like the Enterprise deserves its reverence at this point. So I guess that doesn't bother me as much as it does in Discovery, exactly for the reasons you said, because at that point, Discovery is just, Enterprise is just some ship at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is a grounding point to a certain extent, because that is a point of reference that you can throw in contrast with the stuff they're doing that people will understand pretty easily. Yep. Like, you know, if you said, well, they never do this on the Excelsior, I don't think anybody's going to really, I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll work. Who knows? But I don't think I mind it in this. If they keep, again, like anything else in the show, if they keep going back to that well, and they keep talking about the Enterprise and referencing the Enterprise, and that becomes the basis of most of their jokes, then it becomes a problem. Yep.